One of the most fundamental things that we all have in common is desire. And on the tantric path, we can use desire to our advantage for our own awakening to who we really are and the true nature of reality. But the type of desire that you have actually matters. And for the most part, most of us are mired in egoic desires, which brings suffering. Now, I've made several longer videos on desire and the types of desires, which I will add to links in the description. But for now, what I want to do is just give you a very quick, high level review of these desires before we hop into our actual practice together. So, there are 4 types of desires, and 3 of the 4 perpetuate karmic patterns. And the first one is called kama, K-A-M-A. It's the desire for pleasure. It's the desire for pleasurable experiences, and children indulge in them all the time, like going to the playground and enjoying playing in the sand or blowing bubbles or swinging on a swing, because all of these are very sensate experiences that feel very good. And as adults, we're really no different. We also want pleasurable experiences. But the truth is, and we all know this, that these experiences are temporary and they don't bring lasting happiness, whether it's going out to a really yummy dinner or listening to your favorite band, going to a concert, listening to your favorite band, or whatever it might be. Pleasurable experiences are temporary. So that brings us to the second desire, because when we recognize, oh, these pleasurable experiences don't last, we sort of start seeking something more. We seek a second desire, and that is the desire for success. It's known as artha, A-R-T-A, artha. And success, interestingly enough, isn't always pleasurable. It requires a lot of hard work up front. We do things like going to school and going to college so that we can get a good job. And we get a good job so that we can get enough money to buy a house. And then we want to buy a house so that we have something that we can call our own, and so on and so on. But the truth is, and we all know this, that this type of desire, the desire for success, doesn't bring happiness either. And also in this realm of success would be successful relationships, successful career, having money, fame, power. All of these go under the category of success. So we recognize at a certain point that this type of success doesn't lead to happiness. So we start to have another desire come online, and that is the desire for meaning or purpose, dharma. And we think that finding meaning and purpose is going to bring us happiness. And these are actually really, it's a very good and noble thing to have the desire for meaning and purpose. But even our meaning and purpose changes over the course of our life. I think for myself, what I wanted and what I thought my purpose was when I was in my 20s is much different than it is now in my 50s. And I think everybody experiences that over the course of their life, that their sense of purpose changes. So even our desire for meaning and purpose isn't permanent. It changes. And it doesn't bring us lasting happiness. And that's what the teachings tell us, that none of these 3 desires bring us lasting happiness because they're impermanent. They change, they come and go. And each one of these 3 desires that I've just briefly touched on perpetuates karmic patterns in our life, and those karmic patterns lead to suffering. Now, there is one desire that breaks us free from these karmic patterns. I'm not going to go in depth to that now, but it is the desire to know who you really are, to know the true nature of reality, and it's called moksha, M-O-K-S-A, moksha. Now, non-dual tantric wisdom tells us that all four of these desires are completely normal and that we should even have all of these desires. All of these desires should be fulfilled. And what's beautiful about the path of classical tantra is it gives us a system for fulfilling all of these desires. But what the teachings tell us is that we need to recognize that a problem arises when we believe that having those first three desires fulfilled is going to bring us happiness, lasting happiness. So on this path, we're not trying to actually transcend our desires as in classical yoga. Instead, we're encouraged to actually immerse ourselves into the desires that we have, which brings me to this very critical point of the practice that we're going to do. Consider the idea that all desires, every single desire that you have, is meant to be felt, but not all desires are meant to be fulfilled. All desires are meant to be felt, but not all desires are meant to be fulfilled. Consider this: in order for desire to manifest or to be fulfilled, it requires a complex web of causes and conditions that are almost totally outside of your control. So that's why not all desires are meant to be fulfilled. And you can probably find examples in your own life when you've had a desire, a really, really strong desire for something, and it wasn't fulfilled, right? And that's because in this tradition, we recognize that there are a complex web of causes and conditions that we have no control over. So if we don't allow ourselves to fully feel our desires, what happens is they turn into samskaras, undigested emotions. So one other thing I want to present here is the idea of an egoic desire versus the idea of a divine desire. Now, I'm using these sort of as pedestrian terms. I'm not using the Sanskrit terms, but egoic desire is this underlying motive to acquire or to get rid of something in order to be happy and fulfilled. And divine desire, which is known as Icha Shakti in the tradition, is a spontaneously arising longing to express or experience ourselves or life without any attachment to the outcome. So in this particular practice, we're going to be working with egoic desire because that's what most of us have. And most of us have laid down a lot of samskaras because of our egoic desires. And it's those samskaras that keep us from recognizing our true nature. So before we begin this practice, please have in mind something that you desire, something that you really want, something that you believe is going to make you happy if you have it, or conversely, something that you believe will make you happy if you no longer have it. Let me give you a couple of examples. So maybe you really, really want to land a specific job because it just seems like it's the perfect job for you. And you can imagine that life would be so much more fulfilling if you had this job. On the flip side, maybe you really, really want to lose 30 pounds because you believe that you'll look better if you lose 30 pounds and you'll love your body more if you dropped that weight. So these are two examples. But what I want you to do before we begin this practice is to find your own examples. So Please pause the recording here if you need to identify the desire that you want to work with before beginning our practice together. All right, so let's begin. So just closing your eyes, getting settled. Maybe taking a couple of long, slow breaths. And becoming aware of where your breath goes as you breathe in and where it goes as you breathe out. Noticing all the ways in which your breath is almost like a bridge between your outer world and your inner world. With each breath, drawing a little more closely into your inner world and into that place where everything that you've ever known or felt or sensed or imagined or dreamed or desired or experienced is held in timeless awareness. And just knowing that you're coming into this place to explore a particular desire that you have. So allowing this desire to arise from within the very depths of your awareness as a thought or an image or a hope or a dream. Allowing it to gently come to the surface of your awareness. Now notice as this desire is arising within you, what its associated emotions or feelings are. Is it excitement or longing or anticipation? just allowing yourself to tune in to these emotions, knowing that your desire is unique to you. And how you experience it is also very unique. Now becoming more and more aware of the felt sense of this desire, moving into the realm of what you feel at a visceral level, the somatic impressions that are resonating in your body as an expression of this desire. Maybe it's a singular sensation, or maybe it's a blend of sensations. This is your personal desire. So just allowing it to unfold naturally as an expression and a profound exploration of your inner world. Noticing the specific felt sense in the body that this desire ignites within you. It could be that you're experiencing a tingling or warmth in your chest, or a sense of expansion. Whatever it is, release any labels or judgments that you might have about the sensation, and simply experiencing it as a bodily experience. What are the qualities that it holds? Does it have any particular dimensions? Or a temperature? Or a texture? Become intimately familiar with all of the qualities of the felt sense of this desire. Now beginning to direct your breath into the sensation, allowing your breath to take you directly into the sensation, feeling it intensify, honoring its fullest expression as a somatic experience. There's beauty and there's magic in the intensity, so just allowing it to be fully what it is. If any images, memories, or thoughts arise, that's okay, just allowing them to be there, acknowledging them, but always directing your attention back into the felt sense of this desire, the tangible experience in the body. Now, allowing the sensation of this desire to amplify until it completely consumes you. Every part of your being is saturated with the sensation of this desire. In fact, you're no longer separate from this desire. You are this desire. You are the very vibrating source of this desire, the source from which this desire is created and within which it's experienced. There's nothing else to do, there's nowhere else to go except to be the palpable, vibrant, felt sense of this desire in its magnificent fullness. If any thoughts, images, or storylines arise, that's totally fine. Let them be, but just remain as the felt sense. And eventually you may begin to observe a subtle or perhaps significant change in the intensity of this felt sensation. Once the desire has been fully felt and expressed, fully lived as an aspect of your own being, you'll notice that it starts to wane. The sensation will soften. The urgency will diminish. The desire has expressed itself in its fullest form, and now naturally it begins to subside, much like a wave returning to the ocean. And this is the natural cycle of desire. It's no different than a sound that arises within your awareness, that's there for a certain period of time and then gently begins to subside. This is the natural cycle of everything, including desire. Without trying to hold on to the sensation, simply allow it to subside. And as the desire fades away, you may be experiencing it as a gentle echo. It's like a whisper that gradually becomes softer and softer until eventually it vanishes entirely into nothingness. Into void. And what remains is not a lifeless pit of nothingness, but rather a tranquil emptiness. It's an emptiness of your particular desire. And yet, this emptiness is actually full. It's full of stillness. It's full of silence and ever-aware presence. By becoming the very essence of this desire as a felt sense, you've discovered the secret door to your essence nature. Here, there's no grasping, there's no rejection. There's no urgency or anxiety or worry. It's a realm completely free of all dualistic constraints. By fully becoming the felt sense of this desire, it's allowed to reach its peak, its crescendo, its fullest expression, and then to naturally subside. It's like the completion of a symphony, the last note has resonated, leaving behind profound silence. In allowing this desire to be fully felt as an expression in you, as you, through you, you've fulfilled it. Not in the way that we often think of fulfillment, but in an inner alchemy that transforms and liberates the energy of desire itself. What if you brought this practice into every aspect of your life? Allowing every desire, no matter how fleeting or intense, to be fully felt as an embodied experience, and therefore transformed through this inner alchemy. How might this shift your experience? How might it influence the energy that you bring into your interactions? And just taking a few more moments to sit with these questions as you emerge from this meditation, this contemplation, and carrying this newfound awareness with you out into your life.